Kamala Harris says she's ready to be president, making many Americans think they're ready to be Canadian. Gavin Newsom regrets California's COVID lockdowns. Not as much as Californians do, I bet. And New Mexico's governor wants to ban carrying guns because she sees the Constitution like elderly drivers see stoplights. Just suggestions. That and more on this week's headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Monday marked the 22-year anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. Can't believe it's been 22 years since one of the greatest evils was unleashed on America, the TSA. Let's have a moment of silence for all the lives lost on 9/11 and all the bottles of shampoo I've lost while traveling because they were over 3.4 ounces. Everyone commemorates September 11th in their own way, and some are better than others. Sports betting company DraftKings faced backlash and apologized over a never-forget 9/11 themed bet they offered on the New York Yankees, Mets, and Jets, all winning on September 11th. I don't know why they're apologizing, though. Exploiting tragedy for monetary gain is what America is all about. If the 9/11 Memorial Museum didn't have a gift shop, then the terrorists would have won. President Biden spent his 9/11 in Vietnam. He was there to forge deeper diplomatic ties with the nation over shared concerns about China. Biden seemingly wasn't trying to forge deeper ties with the press, however, while he was there. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre abruptly ended a news conference, cutting the president off mid-sentence.
It wasn't confrontational at all.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
They played him off like he was Charlie Brown going along at an awards show. Brutal. On the bright side, these will be the least violent Vietnam flashbacks an 80-year-old American suffers from. This happened because Biden announced he would only take 5 questions and had already answered 5. Jean-Pierre seemingly tried to keep him on a schedule. However, the fact that she did this and how it came across has led to further concerns about Biden's age and mental state. Then again, each passing day also raises concern about Biden's age since, that's how time works. Mitt Romney actually announced he won't be seeking re-election, saying he's too old and it's time for a new generation of leaders. If only Nancy Pelosi and so many other senior citizens felt the same. Honestly, maybe it's a good thing Biden wasn't stateside for the 9/11 memorial. It's not the best look to hear never forget from a guy that's so old he seems like he can't even remember how to count to 5 questions. Taking Biden's place at the 9/11 memorial was Vice President Kamala Harris. At one point, she and New York Governor Kathy Hochul were standing near New York Mayor Eric Adams, who seemingly grimaced while they smiled and laughed. Some wondered if Adams was upset being near them since he's been publicly critical of both Hochul and Kamala Harris over the illegal immigrant crisis. Meanwhile, others are probably wondering why Kamala Harris was laughing at a 9/11 memorial. Though to be fair, laughing inappropriately is how Kamala Harris expresses all her emotions. She has the emotional range of a Tickle Me Elmo. Adams warns that New York is on the verge of a financial tsunami over the number of illegal immigrants flooding into the city. And to help pay for the immigrant crisis, he's calling for local agencies to slash their budgets by 15% by next spring. He is also cutting overtime pay for NYPD police officers, who are already severely understaffed. Police unions say this will jeopardize public safety. Adams cut the police budget to try and manage the illegal immigrant crisis. It has to be bittersweet for Kamala Harris, as tackling the border crisis is her job as migrants are, but without as many police, it'll be harder to lock them all up. It's a real catch-and-release 22. Just look how sad she looks. Or cold, maybe. It's impossible to tell. Speaking of Harris, she wants everyone to know that people don't need to worry about Joe Biden's age. But should the need arise, she says she's ready to step in and be president. Harris pushed back against Republican attacks on her, saying they feel the need to attack because they're scared we will win based on the merit of the work that Joe Biden and I and our administration has done. I don't think they're scared that you'll win because of the work you've done. They're afraid of the work you will do if you win. And they're especially afraid of Harris becoming president. This is like saying they're afraid of letting a bear fly a helicopter. It's not because they're afraid the bear would do such a great job. And after the break, Google faces a massive antitrust trial. Welcome back. Google and its parent company Alphabet are facing the largest antitrust trial the U.S. has brought against a corporation since Microsoft in 2001. The lawsuit was filed by the Justice Department under the Trump administration. Google is accused of stifling competition and innovation. They're also accused of search results dropping in quality, with the company more concerned with selling ads for its own products. The Justice Department claims Google paid more than $10 billion a year to make itself the default search engine on cell phones. This is just the first phase of the trial and is expected to last into November, followed by further arguments. A verdict will likely come early next year. If it's determined Google is breaking the law, another trial will begin to determine what actions to take. And how will they determine what to do? Why, Google it, of course. Let's see. Oh, just keep letting Google be the best and most handsome search engine on the planet. Also buy Google Pixel. Seems legit. And House Republicans are forcing a floor vote to ban California and other Democrat-run states from instituting electric vehicle mandates. This stems from California announcing requirements that all new cars sold in the state be electric by 2035. A mandate many consider costly and unrealistic due to the current state of California's power grid. Unrealistic and expensive. It's simply shocking that this is coming out of the home state of Hollywood. Republican Congressman John Joyce, the author of the Preserving Choice in Vehicle Purchases Act the House will be voting on, says this legislation, H.R. 1435, is an option. It is not an anti-electric vehicle legislation. For those who would like an electric vehicle, they should have the option of buying one. But if it doesn't help my constituents, it doesn't help in any district to require an individual to buy an EV regardless of what they want and regardless of the demands of the market. It's kind of like going to a dinner with a vegan. It's cool if you want to get cauliflower cosplaying as chicken wings, but when you try forcing everyone to order the tofurkey, that's not how you make new vegans, that's just how you never get invited to future dinners. Speaking of California, California Governor Gavin Newsom told NBC's Meet the Press that he regrets the harsh COVID restrictions he pushed in his state during the pandemic. He explains, "I think we would have done everything differently. We didn't know what we didn't know. We're experts in hindsight. We're all geniuses." Wow! If only there were literally millions of people telling him his policies were a bad idea and begging him to reconsider at the time. If only. And if only there were studies from March 2020 predicting wide-scale lockdowns would lead to massive increases in drug addiction, suicide, and crime. How could we have known? During the interview, NBC's Chuck Todd called Newsom out for allowing Hollywood studios to resume production during the pandemic, but keeping churches closed, saying, "You found a way to allow the motion picture industry to get back to work, but you didn't allow people to grieve together at funeral or churches. This is this anger between the populace and the elites. Here you prioritize this industry, but you were tougher on those that just wanted to go to worship." Is he implying that Newsom isn't religious? I'll have you know that Gavin Newsom is a huge fan of the big guy from the sky. And by that, I mean Optimus Prime.
Well, good morning, everybody. Is that Optimus Prime? Nice.
It is a privilege to stand by your side.
Optimus Prime died and rose from the grave. If that ain't a religious figure, I don't know what is. Peace be with you, and transform and roll out. And after the break, Vladimir Putin meets with Kim Jong-un. Welcome back. North Korea's Kim Jong-un traveled to Russia to meet with Vladimir Putin and offered him full support in his sacred fight with the West. This obviously has the world pretty nervous, partially because they're afraid the two discussed arms, and mostly because if they combine the slow-motion Top Gun walk with the shirtless horse riding, they'll create the most powerful meme of all time. Not even Dark Brandon could stop them. Speaking of Dark Brandon, Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy announced 3 House committees are opening an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. McCarthy says this logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public. If you're wondering, wait, weren't they already doing that? Well, sort of. The investigations into Hunter Biden's shady business deals and whether or not Joe Biden was directly involved were sort of the pre-impeachment inquiry. This is the actual impeachment inquiry. Their next step, should they find enough incriminating evidence, or let's be real, if they think they have enough votes to do it, is to try to ask Congress to impeach Biden, which is the post-impeachment inquiry. With all these inquiries, it's no wonder the government always leaves us with more questions than answers. Even more questionable is how a spokesman for the White House counsel's office sent a letter to news outlets asking them to ramp up scrutiny of this impeachment inquiry. The letter said that Republicans are peddling disinformation and lies everywhere, and that this should set off alarm bells for news organizations. Well, as a news outlet, I'd like to say that my alarm bell is definitely ringing. But it's because the government is telling me what to report. If the White House wants Republicans to drop this impeachment thing, they shouldn't be flirting with violating the First Amendment. Instead, they should just say, do you want Kamala Harris to be president? Because impeaching Joe Biden is how you get Kamala Harris to be president. McCarthy will be juggling this impeachment inquiry with trying to prevent a looming government shutdown. Yes, again. Speaking of constitutional violations, boy, I'm saying that a lot these days. New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham signed an emergency order banning the public carrying of firearms in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County for 30 days. She declared a public health emergency over gun violence after multiple mass shootings and the deaths of 2 children. Of course, just ban guns. Why hasn't anyone thought of that before? Because if there's one thing criminals and murderers are known for, it's following the rules. This suspension of a constitutional right also states that citizens with concealed carry licenses cannot brandish their weapon. Grisham says while they won't be arrested, since she has no way of enforcing this law, maybe they should be. The reason Grisham isn't able to enforce this law is because Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen said he won't enforce this law.
And I take my oath seriously. In reference to concealed carry and open carry, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office will not enforce this segment of the order. While I understand the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution, but most importantly, it is unconstitutional.
Constitutional violations aside, without guns in Albuquerque, Breaking Bad would have been way less dramatic. Give me my meth or I'll punch you really hard. A lot. Several Democrats also spoke out against this move, with California Congressman Ted Leo saying there's no such thing as a state public health emergency exemption to the Constitution. New Mexico Republican lawmakers are calling for Grisham's impeachment and feel they have the support of Democrats in this move. That's right, they're jumping straight into the post-impeachment inquiry. Because even in these divisive political times, nothing brings everyone together like common hate over someone saying something incredibly stupid. How can Grisham possibly justify this? She says it's because the Constitution isn't absolute.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute.
Watch out, Kim Jong-un and Putin. Looks like another memeable authoritarian is coming for you. Many are rightly worried that this is a slippery slope to suspending other constitutional rights just by declaring an emergency. Grisham will likely face several legal challenges, and New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres, a fellow Democrat, said he wouldn't defend Grisham's administration from any lawsuits challenging this unconstitutional ban. But to be fair, this type of action isn't unprecedented. Suspending constitutional rights following a tragedy is exactly what happened after 9/11. Which reminds me, happy belated birthday to the Patriot Act. I'm going to celebrate by pouring some shampoo out for my homies, since the TSA won't let me board with more than 3.4 ounces. And if you're interested in learning more about insane totalitarian moves like banning guns, check out my analysis of the indie game Cult of the Lamb at our other channel, Gamers Unbeaten. If you want to make sure we can keep making episodes like this, click that orange button to support us on Patreon. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.